You want me to get that?
Oh, no, there's a knock at the door. It's Trey Lance's house. The mailman's here. He's delivering a fruit basket from Nick Bosa.
Oh, wow.
He has sent a fruit basket to Trey Lance to thank him for keeping his name out our mouths.
Pretty much, right?
Isn't it amazing? It's amazing. This was actually one of the conversations that, our extended producer on this show, the lovely Christy, we're having a conversation this morning. She's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, the best player on the team is not in camp. And everybody's talking about the third or fourth string quarterback.
Right.
What a wild world in which we live. Which one is more important to this season? Nick Bosa or Trey Lance?
It's not even close.
Thank you. So that's something else that I think today, now that we have arrived at the final preseason game, is really, it's worth our time. I don't necessarily, I'll just put it out up front. I don't know what to think about it because I don't know who's asking for what. All I know is what John Lynch said. This is super uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you set a deadline, though, and for your own self, and we're coming up on that deadline.
Well, listen, the bottom line is this. I'm uncomfortable, but I also have that voice, and don't you too, in the back of your head, do you have any doubt that Nick Bosa is going to play football for the 49ers this year?
This year, I have no doubt.
None.
What about week 1?
Very little doubt.
Well, but there is doubt.
Yeah, but
there is doubt now. I think that every time you and I look into each other's eyes, your baby blues, my S Browns, we have, every time that this goes by, we get a day closer to the doubt getting bigger.
S stands for steamy, but
sure.
Anyway.
The doubt is getting big, and the doubt is getting bigger.
I know this isn't really a genuine way to respond to it, but there's a shred of doubt for everybody. They've got to go through practice.
You promised me you'd be genuine.
Well, listen.
Or authentic.
The doubt is not high.
But it's growing.
I guess it has to.
It has to grow.
I would still phrase it as shocked if Nick Bosa is not in a uniform week 1. I'd be shocked.
We are 16 days away from the opener in Pittsburgh, and there's not even a sniff of him signing. And I guess this sort of thing, there won't be a buildup.
Yeah, there is.
There won't be.
There's a sniff. John Lynch said yesterday, we're getting close.
He said that a week ago.
I know. He said that 6 months ago.
Thank you. So I'm not buying that as we're getting close. You know what close is?
Why do we decide which to buy?
Close is Nick Bosa is in the building and his agent's there and they're having a meeting today. That's close.
But maybe they are. He was in New York 2 days ago. Why did he go to New York? He's Nick Bosa. He wants to be in Florida. Why is he in New York?
Why did he go to New York? The Niners weren't in New York?
No, but his agent's office is.
Right. So he went to his agent's office to say, dude, I want $35 million a year, bro.
This isn't going well. Your strategy sucks.
Whatever it was. I'm going to give you a 3 for the effort.
Yeah, it's not a good one. I don't know why the Bosas all turned into Napoleon Dynamite.
It's got to be a little bit more Spicoli in there. A little bit more of that surfer,
You know
bro.
what the problem is we used to do Joey Bosa impersonations, and he's more surfer dude than Nick is.
He is even more,
right.
Yeah.
So it's like now you've got to do Joey, but tap it down a little. It just doesn't work.
We have great energy.
I'm getting out of the Nick Bosa impersonation business.
I'm ecstatic about that.
Only one time will I impersonate Nick Bosa, and it's do the Niners play the Bucs this year? They do, don't they? They play the Buccaneers this year?
I think so.
Play Tampa. So if we get a Baker, you good? That's the only time we're doing Nick Bosa voices. Other than that, I'm out.
Week 11.
So we can do Nick impersonations that day. But outside of that, I'm out.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't know.
The doubt grows.
But why do we choose what to believe? Why would we believe John Lynch? We all believe him when they say they want to keep Trey Lance. I don't think they do.
Well, I don't have to believe anybody. All I know is we're sitting here on August 25th, and the third preseason game is in 4.5 hours, and Nick Bosa not only will not be in uniform, I doubt he'll be in attendance, and he will not be there with a new contract unless something happens in the next 4 hours and 23 minutes. So that has me worried because after tonight's game, you go through one last look back at a preseason game. Cut down day is Tuesday, and when you do cut down day, you're going to have to build in some sort of room for Nick Bosa and his contract, depending on how you structure it, if he gets more money than he's currently getting or however that's going to work. But the team's got to figure out on Tuesday who you have on your roster.
I guess, you're not wrong about any of this, and then neither am I when I say this stuff almost always works out.
Right.
I
heard David Lombardi on with you and Styles yesterday. Terrific interview.
Thank you.
And I'm bummed that I didn't get to talk to David, former 95.7 The Game intern.
We talked to Peter King, too.
Fine. He was never an intern.
I bet he was.
Not here at 95.7 The Game. When he was an intern, I don't even know if I was born, Mark. That's how long he's been in the business.
Wow, we'll tell Peter that you called him really old.
Yeah. That's exactly right. But David Lombardi said to you guys, this is the longest holdout in the Shanahan-Lynch regime.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
it's
that
uncomfortable.
hit me. It's uncomfortable, and that's real. Dog, that's real.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. I think that's the only way you can phrase it.
It's more than uncomfortable.
Well, but remember, listen, this stuff happens and then is often forgotten. If we went through the famous high-level holdouts in the history of the NFL and we asked everybody how and when did they end, here's the answer. I don't remember. I just know that Aaron Donald was there. I know that Emmitt Smith was there. I know that they were there. I know that Aaron Donald won Defensive Player of the Year after this exact same situation. So the net effect of this discomfort is probably nothing more than that. Discomfort. But anything tangible, anything that leads to losses or a relationship being shattered or poor play or injury, I don't think there's anything there. The high likelihood remains is that Nick Bosa is ready to go in 16 days with a new contract and everybody gets popcorn. That remains
the favorite.
Heavy favorite at this hour.
I don't know how about heavy. And the idea of a soft tissue injury is omnipresent, and I know it's omnipresent for anyone because this is football, but you've got a guy who hasn't yet worked up his football callus, and I'm borrowing again from David Lombardi because I loved the interview yesterday when I was listening from my hovel out there in the East Bay, and the fact that he hasn't developed that football callus is a thing. You can work out in your Florida compound all you want, but when you're not playing football, you're not developing your football training, and so that's a thing. And, you're assuming that he signs in time to get ready and get sharp for week 1, which I'm not convinced of.
No, but we're also ignoring what Doc Pandia told us this week in that this, you get through one hurdle, which is getting ready for week 1, and then this ends up helping you. It helps you because you didn't have all the wear and tear of August. So this may end up being just rose petals and hot dogs for everybody.
Sure. Those two don't really go well together, but two
I disagree.
very good things.
Have a picnic with some roses, some hot dogs.
Look at you.
Right? Some
Forget
lemonade.
the mustard, put some rose petals in that hot dog.
Leave the mustard off. I hate mustard. Let's go to the phones. 888-957-9570. Zach in Oakland. What's up in the land, Zach? You're on with Willard and Dibs. What you doing?
Hey, what's up, fellas? I just wanted to kind of, I'm sitting here with my 79-year-old dad, and we love the 49ers, man. We've been fans since 1980, 1981. And, he reminded me that, back in the day, Joe Montana wasn't during the first Super Bowl year, he didn't have that prolific of numbers. We were getting 17-point games, 21-point games. He had 45 against Dallas one time, but it was far and few in between. And so it took a miraculous catch from Dwight Clark when it was almost like a throwaway play. Because that was what the beauty of Montana was. He would throw the ball away instead of, putting it in danger.
Hold up. I'm not even sure where this is exactly going. Did you just call the catch from Joe Montana's standpoint a throwaway?
Oh, that corner catch, we have to all agree that was a miraculous catch. That wasn't something that was, easy on the difficulty scale.
We agree it was a miraculous catch. It does not sound we agree with what Joe Montana's intent was on that play. I think he put a ball where only Dwight Clark would have a shot to potentially catch it, but to say there was not a strategy to that throw, that he was trying to huck it into the stands, I'm not going to let you do that, Magzak.
That was the beauty of Joe Montana. I mean, if no one else was going to catch that. But my point is not that. My point is this. So they had a great team. Dwayne Board and Dwight Hicks and, all these Ronnie Lott and all these, different players that they had, didn't put so much of an emphasis on Joe Montana being Joe Montana. That the legend wasn't actually created then for Montana. It was created for Montana and Clark, yes.
So, Zach, you're how does this apply to today, Zach? What are you getting at?
We got a great team.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about the third-string quarterback, man. We got a great team.
Yeah.
And we're going to go all the way if everything goes right. And that's all, we need to focus more on that instead of, the third-string guy. Who cares?
Well, I agree with that completely. However, I will add, just because of the way you sort of compared these things, it is a very different game than it was back in 1982. Okay, so if you look back at stats, if you wanted to do this in terms of quarterback stats, this is a fun exercise. You'll be blown away at how horribly Joe Montana's stats stack up to the quarterbacks of today. You could put him next to Matt Ryan, and you'd be like, Matt Ryan is way better than Joe Montana. But that's not reality, obviously.
Well, you can look at the stats of the team in that game, and I believe they turned it over 6 times.
It was a lot.
He threw 3 picks.
3 picks.
And I think they had 3 fumbles as well. They weren't very good.
No.
And Dallas wasn't great either.
They turned it over a lot, too.
But nowadays, a game like that, it just doesn't happen.
No, it's a different game. And so there is more focus on the quarterback now. The NFL has made it that way. But your larger point is a completely fair one. It's a completely fair one. And it is why I do believe that the 49ers can and should trade Trey Lance. Not because I don't like Trey, not because Trey's done anything wrong, but you have 2-pronged things here now. You have Trey Lance, the person who I think would be better off somewhere else, and you have this dynamic that sits in front of us. And the 49ers have a really good football team and hopefully a great season about to start, and nobody can talk about anything but the third-string quarterback. That's not good. That's not what they want. And so for everybody's sake, what has sort of changed for me, if this breaks in an hour, tomorrow, Tuesday, whenever it breaks, that Trey Lance has been sent to the Vikings or the Chargers or wherever he goes.
Tuesday at noon, I told you.
Okay. When that breaks, I don't care what they got in return. I don't care.
You'd rather them get next to nothing and be done with the saga than hold on to him and be dogged by the saga and get a little bit more in October or in February.
And have him stuck. Have him stuck at the back of the bench. And whenever a reporter can find him, hey, Trey, how's this feel now? How's this feel now? Could you believe this? What's it like to go from number 3 overall pick in the draft to sitting at the end of the bench running the scout team?
From number 3 to number 3.
Hey, Trey.
Am I right?
Yeah, you should wear number 3, Trey. Have you ever thought about that?
Rick Meyer wore number 3.
Good God, get him out of here. For his own sake.
Well, we found that we tend to need a lot of quarterbacks and stuff here in San Francisco. And,
great. Brandon Allen's right over there.
Well, we actually quietly hope that we're going to keep Brandon Allen too and stuff because we might need 4 quarterbacks. And last year we got to our 4th quarterback, and turns out we needed a 5th and stuff, and we didn't have a 5th. And so I put in McCaffrey and stuff, and it didn't really work out and stuff.
Thank you for the last one. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got to always punctuate with an and stuff.
Yeah, honestly, for his own sake, for the 49ers' sake, because I'm a 49er fan, and I would like them to do well this year.
Sure.
And I do not want, right, if Brock Purdy, look, this is all going to happen anyway. If Brock Purdy misses a game, we all know where this conversation is going.
Sam or Trey?
Holy crap. And by the way, it's going to happen whether Trey is on the roster or not. Because if Sam goes out and does not perform well, oh my gosh, here comes the tidal wave. It's coming no matter what.
We're going to have BA to BA, Brandon Allen to Brandon Ayuk.
Can't wait.
The two Brandons. Forget Belt and Crawford. We got a couple. There are two new Brandons in town.
The city does have an obsession with people named Brandon.
I can see your promo coming already.
Yeah.
Just when you thought two Brandons were gone, the two Brandons are back.
Yep. Why do you think the Warriors did what they did in the first round? Why do you think they did that?
Is there a Brandon involved?
What's his name? What's the guy's
Brandon
name?
Pajemski.
Because you scared me there for a minute. I'm like,
Pajemski?
is his name Bob? It's Brandon, isn't it?
Billy Joe Pajemski.
Billy Joe Pajemski? His name's Brandon.
To your point,
Anyway.
though, about like things, and we'll go to your phones and your calls in just a moment.
Whose phones?
I need to be in there screening calls. I miss it. I was really enjoying that.
You can take over if you want.
Well, Grandy comes in. He's like, "What are you doing in
You're
here?"
like
I'm like,
Gwen Stefani. Go screen them phone calls.
I was like, Grandy, can you please get in here? Because all I can do is screen calls, and there's like literally 12 other things you have to do now.
Yes, there
like
are.
there's some YouTube switching,
Yes.
and to your point though, there are so many other things that we should worry about, including, hello, your kicker, Jake Moody.
Gosh, good Lord.
Jake Moody's got a quad strain, and you know what?
He's out tonight.
But this feels to me like this might, and again, this is me.
This is terrifying.
This is wild speculation, and maybe it's conspiracy theory, but this might be like, hey, we're going to say you've got a quad strain because we want to put you on the injured list because you know what? You stink.
I hear you. My mind went there too, and I quickly decided that's our media brain that went there.
I can't get away from it.
But it's awful. It's awful because if Jake Moody's your kicker, you're heading to Pittsburgh, and all of us are knee knocking every time he comes on the field.
Yeah.
By the way, Pittsburgh, notoriously one of the most difficult places to kick in the whole
bad
NFL.
field.
It is a tough field.
Bad pitch.
The wind is weird. It's a tough spot.
Pitch.
You're going to put Jake Moody out there without any more in-game work?
Right.
After what he's put on tape in the first two games? This is terrifying.
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 I repeated it after you. Terrifying. Trying
Pittsburgh
to bring that
26, Niners 24, 2 seconds on the clock. Here comes Moody from 42 yards out.
Limping.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I sound like Brad Pitt in Seven. Oh, God. Ah.
And Jake Moody also
What's
has
on the field?
a strained quad. He is not playing tonight.
I know. That's what, Thanks for listening to the show,
Strained
Grandy.
I got you. Yeah, there's a lot going on at Dibs
First time
knows
I've
now.
ever
Screen a
come
call.
down your road.
So great.
Mike in Michigan with Willard and Dibs. Hi, Mike. What are you doing?
Hey, gentlemen, happy Friday.
What's up?
Willard, I'll tell you what's in the box. It's going to be Jake Moody's quadricep.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. I don't like it,
boy.
Mike. I don't like it one
I
bit.
don't either. I don't either. So I just got a quick take on this Nicky Bosa holdout. You were mentioning other holdouts where that you said they just ended up being there. But I tell you, T.O., when he held out against the Eagles, he wasn't there. He was in his driveway doing push-ups and sit-ups, and the aforementioned Bosa, his brother held out. He wasn't there. Came out, tweaked a hamstring, missed some games. So my prediction is that Nick Bosa is going to hold out the first 2 weeks, and then they're going to go 0-2. And just like Emmitt Smith did in the early '90s, he held out the first 2 games against their teams. They went 0-2. And Jerry Jones, good old Jerry, he said, "I got to pay Emmitt whatever he wants." Came back hat in hand. Emmitt was there game 3, and they go on and win the Super Bowl.
I remember
All
it.
right, guys.
Yeah, I remember it. Mike, thanks.
Mike.
I'll say this. If he misses games, I can't tell you yet who I would criticize, but my God, somebody deserves to be absolutely smacked upside the head. I don't know if it's the Niners or Nick or both, but if this goes there, this team, this year, this situation, I can't tell you who I'm mad at, but if he misses games, that is flat out unacceptable.
It's management
It is
to me. It's management.
But you have no idea what's being asked. You don't know what's
Right.
being asked. So
But
I don't even know
as
how.
I said to you earlier in the week,
I don't know how you can pick a side.
pay him.
Yeah, they
Pay
are.
that man his money. Well, you say they are, but they haven't.
Okay,
And until they do.
The only thing I know is that Nick Bosa has been offered a contract that makes him the highest paid defensive player in the history of the game. By the way, the reason I know that is because if that's not true, I'm not reporting it. But if it's not true, then the 49ers are a joke. I mean, that was the ticket to get in the door. You don't even allow it in the
ante, yeah.
You don't get to come into this room without that. And they've said that they know that. They knew that. So if they're getting quote unquote close, and nobody's yelled from the mountaintops yet.
No, they haven't. 16 days into the opener.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's already there. So the fact that these two sides cannot get on the same page, to quite frankly, where I would target it now without knowing any of the inside facts is both of you. Both of you. Get on the same page. What are you doing?
It's very Steiny of you.
Well, but what are you
see
doing?
Both sides.
I don't see both sides. I don't see either side.
Yeah,
like
that's
what
fair.
are we doing? You know what I mean? But right now, we're chilling because I have no doubt that he'll be there for week 1.
You have a little bit of concern, and it's growing.
Discomfort.
Tomorrow was the deadline that you had set. You set an earlier deadline, I think, of Wednesday, and then you moved it to Saturday after you had heard somebody from upper management speak or management, and now here we sit on Friday with the game coming up in 3.5 hours.
I'm like Jake Moody. The goalposts are moving.
Yeah, although he's got range when he's healthy, but that to me, if you want to rank the concerns, and you mentioned this before about Trey Lance, and he might, like, quarterback 2 or quarterback 3 should be your 10th biggest concern, and if that
should be your 80th concern.
Right, but it's a bigger concern because of where he was drafted and the situation with quarterback injuries and the history of this team. But for me, the Jake Moody quad concern is way higher on the list.
There are week 1 49er football concerns. Quarterback is not one of them.
Right.
Nobody on the quarterback depth chart is one of them. Brock Purdy's going to start. I expect him to play some pretty good ball. And that's like literally.
And if something happens to him, Sam Darnold's going to be his backup.
In. Yeah.
But who's going to be the emergency third?
Right now, I would actually put my chip on Brandon Allen.
Boy, that's a great question.
Wow, thank you, Tim.
Because the 49ers need to get out of this dynamic, and so does Trey. So I'm failing to see who's motivated to keep him on the team. I know what they said, but who cares about that? Someone explain to me, where's the motivation? For who? For what? For Trey Lance to be on the 49ers this year.